We're going over our favorite hidden gem bottles that you should be picking up.
Hi, I'm Jonathan.
Hi, I'm Taryn, and welcome to Whiskey Break. And because football season is very close,
Yes.
and even closer, fantasy football season, we thought it'd be fun to do kind of like our take on like sleeper picks or, you know, hidden gem bottles, but a whiskey challenge.
Yes.
So
Yeah, we're basically just going to go over the bottles that don't get talked enough about on YouTube and tend to like stay on the shelf. And whenever we go back to these bottles, we're just always really impressed with them. And so we each have 3 bottles we're going to go over, and I think let's just get into it. Before we get into our own picks, we do have one shared honorable mention, and that bottle is Westward Single Malt Stout Cask.
yeah, so this is a bottle that I can't go without mentioning. It's just one of those that immediately when I thought of hidden gem bottles, I immediately thought of something Westward, and this is our favorite bottle from them. And yeah, it's just a great bottle, but unfortunately, I think my other 3 picks are better.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, I can't go without mentioning this. I think Jonathan and I aren't typically single malt fans, but
Yeah, I'd say this one does a really good job of bringing single malt to the bourbon drinker.
Yeah.
They're probably the best American single malt producer that we've tried. I haven't seen a lot of good reviews for other ones. It does help. They are craft, but that does come with the disadvantage of like, this is a 90 proof single barrel pick, and it was about $100, a little bit extra. So it is a little bit of a pricey entry, but if you are interested in the American single malt category, I highly recommend going with Westward, or at least going with a finished single malt. So like this one being a stout cask, it's really chocolate, really interesting, really like flavor forward. You don't get a lot of that weird maltiness. I think that's generally the way to go with the single malts.
yes. So yeah, honorable mention, had to do it. But yes, next we'll get into our picks. My first sleeper pick is Dad's Hat Single Barrel Rye. So this is a cask strength rye. It is something that actually inspired this video, especially for me, because it's just so good. It is, yeah, all the rye spice and everything that I potentially want. I mean, this is 131 proof, so it is pretty damn spicy, but I feel like it drinks comfortably, in my opinion. Like, I do think, obviously, it is a very strong rye. So if you like ryes, this will be up your alley. But yeah, it's something that we haven't even heard people talk about. We got this for about $60.
Yeah, it was a couple years ago, so hard to remember. I think at most, new releases are like $80. And for a craft cask strength, it's at least 4 years old. The new releases might be a little older. It's a really good deal. It's really unique. We love craft whiskey. And like Taryn said, super high proof, still super rye, but it's got a lot of those like dark chocolate notes backing it up.
It's just a really good bottle. And yeah, if you guys have this around you and you've seen it on the shelves, I strongly recommend you to go out and try it. It's really good. We haven't tried anything else from Dad's Hat, but like excited to, because this bottle is so good. But yeah, I really love it. I think, yeah, it's literally probably my favorite sleeper pick that I have. So please go out and try it.
My first sleeper pick is Sagamore Bottled and Bond. This is the batch 2, so they're 5-year-old rye, back-to-back rye picks from us.
Yes.
Which is kind of funny. Taryn's definitely the rye person. I'm more bourbon, but this is just fantastic. We are huge fans of Sagamore in general, but honestly, I think I like their releases that are their own distillate better than their MGP stuff, which is, if you've been around the whiskey world a while, that's usually not the case. Usually, you know, these great craft whiskey brands come up, but they use a lot of other distillate source. It's a little older, and then when they do a switch, there's, at the very least, a very awkward period, and then maybe it gets better, but it's just so good. It's very light and fruity for being a rye. 100 proof is honestly perfect for it. And I see it all the time. It's like at most $65. It's cheaper than the rest of the Reserve series. You'll see it go on sale for in the 50s sometimes. We're working on getting a batch 1 and maybe even getting a batch 3 I've seen that's 6 years old. So that's kind of cool too. You can kind of like get each one and see how the rye changes as it gets older. But we've said it before, I put this on some other lists. We're really excited to see when they do the full switch over to their own distillate, because I think it's just going to get better in general.
I agree. So, I think this is a great pick, by the way. This is one of the bottles that I feel like like you said, not a lot of people go back to it. So like we went back to it recently and I was like, oh damn, like that's a pretty damn good rye. So I do think, it is very light. I would say it leans kind of toward that like citrusy tea route of rye, which is kind of fun because I feel like not a lot of ryes go to that direction. But yeah, we kind of noticed something similar with our small batch. So yeah, I'm excited to see more and more from them. Yeah, I think it's going to be delicious. And I think this is a great pick. I think.
In general on this list, we're going to have some that are from whole distilleries that don't get talked about. Obviously, Sagamore gets talked about a lot, but the Bottled Bond just gets overlooked a lot.
I agree.
If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And just thank you for watching, but let's get back to the rest of our list.
My second pick is Dry Fly, and this is a wheat whiskey. So I really love this bottle. It is something that stands out in my memory as being just one of my favorites throughout the years of trying whiskey. It is, like I said, a wheat whiskey, and we're not typically wheated bourbon fans, but we really enjoy this wheat whiskey. It is very honey forward, especially in my opinion. I think I generally typically like it more than Jonathan. So this is definitely a Taryn pick. But yeah, it is very high proof. It's 128.8 proof. And yeah, Dry Fly is just something that I now will look for in stores, and it's something that I am excited to try more of. And yeah, I just really like this bottle.
Yeah, we don't see it a lot around us, but definitely, I mean, this pick was like $50. And so I think next time we see another single barrel from them for anywhere in that 50 to 70 range, it's worth taking a chance on. It's incredibly unique.
Yes, very cool. And I think, it's just, small batch, it's from a craft distillery. We always love supporting craft distilleries.
It's got a 7-year age statement on it, too. Yeah. That's not something you see from a craft distillery very often.
Yes, but it's very good. And if you see something from Dry Fly on the shelves, highly recommend. We will also be looking into that. So go out and get it.
My second sleeper pick is Alberta Premium Cask Strength Rye. So this comes in at 63.7%, and it is 100% rye mash bill. So if you have no idea what Alberta is, because they don't make a lot of bottles under their own name, they are one of the, if not the biggest whiskey producer in Canada. So actually like Whistle Pig and even like Found North, brands like that often source from them. And it's just labeled as rye whiskey. Really good stuff. And this is cask strength, like we said, crazy rye in your face.
Yes.
It is super strong. Everything you want, and yeah, it's not the prettiest bottle. It almost looks like a lab sample, like not for sale, like plastic screw cap, all that. But it's like 60 to 70 bucks. I've seen a lot of times people say it goes on clearance because no one knows what it is.
Yeah, and you'll probably see it in a box sometimes.
Yeah, it comes in like a weird little box. But this is a great pickup. I mean, again, Whistle Pig, those are $100 plus, and usually not cask strength.
Yeah.
The only thing this is missing is an age statement, but I'm okay with paying a little cheaper without the age statement. The whiskey inside is still really good.
Yeah, and I'm starting to notice a theme. I think we just picked our highest proof whiskeys in our cabinet because, this is obviously very high. The last couple picks were super high. It's like kind of crazy.
Yeah, lots of non-bourbons. Maybe that's part of the thing too. Yeah. I mean, people will try any bourbon under the sun, but are a little scared to venture out into like the rye or wheat whiskey category. And that's really where you're going to find the gems. But if you are new to rye whiskey, this is probably not the best entry. But
agreed.
If you want to try something, it's super citrus, super piney, just really strong rye.
Very good. I've definitely worked my way up to really loving this bottle. I think this is a bottle that could easily be on my list as well.
Yes.
I really enjoy all the ryeness that this bottle brings. And it is extremely intense. And I am a huge fan of flavor. So flavor in my whiskey is great. Obviously not finished, but flavor in my whiskey is great. And this one's a great pick.
Stop skipping this one.
My last pick is High and Wicked Cask Strength Bourbon. So this is a bottle that I love. I put this on a couple other lists, but yeah, it is a high rye bourbon. Obviously, big rye girl. I'm gonna like a high rye bourbon. But yes, it is extremely like stone fruit forward. I would say it definitely leans kind of in that apricot direction. And yeah, I just really love the tasting notes. I think it is a very deep whiskey. Obviously it's cask strength, so you're gonna get a lot of flavor out of that. And it is, you know, rye spicy for being a bourbon. But it is just a really good bottle. It's something that we only heard of from the Bourbon Junkies. We literally would have left this on the shelf if it wasn't for them. So we're really glad that, you know, they mentioned it and we had the opportunity to pick up this bottle. I liked it so much that I actually went and got myself a backup. So we do have 2 bottles of this just because I find myself going to this bottle a lot. I really enjoy it. I think those, like I said, the flavor combinations it has is something that I find myself enjoying the most, especially right now at least. And yeah, I couldn't go on a sleeper picks list without mentioning this. I really strongly recommend people go out and try this. Yeah. I'm in love with it and I just want everyone to try it. Yeah.
Taryn actually said right before this that it is very Buffalo Trace-esque. Yeah. And I think that's a really good description. More of like the mash bill 2 side. Because it's got a lot of that rye coming in. So it's kind of like that cranked up to the max. But yeah,
almost like a Blanton's Gold, but a little bit deeper in flavor, if that makes sense. I also kind of like equate the similarity a little bit to actually the Devil's Tower from Redwood Empire. At least the flavors that it's giving. Obviously, this is a cask strength, so they're
both high rye
different,
bourbons.
But yeah, very high rye bourbon. It has very similar notes of the stone fruit. On Redwood, I get apples. This one leans a little bit more apricot, but I do still get kind of a hint of like apples or pears. So
yeah. And just for context, we paid about $80 for this bottle. I think it's about what it goes for. And yeah, it's a 5-year-old bourbon from some undisclosed distillery. It's definitely a custom mash bill. So wherever it is, they're not quite craft, but again, you can't really get it anywhere else. So yeah, close enough.
Look for the Broncos.
And my final sleeper pick is Remus Repeal Reserve. So this is the batch 6. There is a batch 7 out. We haven't had a chance to try it, but I think they're very similar. And yeah, this is probably not an unknown bottle like a lot of the other ones on the list. But when batch 5 came out a few years ago, everyone on Whiskey Tube loved it. It had a ton of really old MGP whiskey, and it was just kind of like a legendary bottle that was just a steal for like the $80 to $90 you could find it for. We unfortunately never got a bottle, but I feel like then batch 6 came out, and of course it couldn't live up to that standard, and I think everyone just kind of overcorrected a little bit too far. I think in today's market and everything, $80, $90, $100 bottle for what you get here, it's really good MGP juice. Yeah. It's got a lot of the low rye and high rye from them, so it drinks a little bit more like a Bur rye. It's got basically the most amount of oak that we like, so it's not crazy drying or like super crazy like bitter, anything like that. Yeah. It's got a good amount of oak, a little bit of like the fruit sweetness.
Yeah, also a little bit of mint.
yeah, that's where it kind of a little bit more like a Bur rye, but 100 proof. It's really good, easy drinking. I wouldn't say it's like a must buy or like as crazy of a hidden gem as the others on our list, but if that's kind of what you're looking for, it's like a really nice package. Like,
exactly.
You can do way worse for about $90. And again, I think it's just a little bit too much overcorrected, a little bit too much overlooked. And
I completely agree. Yeah, I think this bottle, when we did our tasting, was one of my favorites. I think it forced us to actually go out and buy it. So it is something that I really like. And I agree with Jonathan. I think it's something that maybe gets overlooked.
To give a little context, we did a tasting with MGP where they came out and the Remus Repeal, the Gatsby Reserve, the 15-year-old $250 bottle was in that tasting, and we actually preferred this one. Again, we're not huge fans of that crazy oak, and this just had a little bit more flavor, and made us spend the $90 the next week, and I think it deserves to be on this list.
And I'm trying to get a job there, so, Just kidding. But we met their marketing chick, and I wouldn't mind.
Yes. Really beautiful bottle, beautiful designs, really great.
That concludes our hidden gem / sleeper picks. So yeah, hopefully we inspired you all to go out and maybe try some of the picks that we mentioned, or if you guys have any hidden gems that you know of and want to let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear them. Maybe we'll go out and get inspired by that and go out and get them too.
Yeah. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe, like, all that good stuff. And just come back every Monday for new videos. And good luck in the NFL season this year. See you guys later.